Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about 2 laps, right? 5 minutes and 2 laps each. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Did you get the menu of A with the space bars? Okay. Yeah. Stream's on. I can continue on. Yeah. Yeah. So everyone can hear me now. Okay. No, no. Okay. Cheers. Okay, so this is currently practice, and okay, so this ends in 5 minutes, right? 15 minutes actually. There's hour and 10 minutes practice. Oh God. I got some mosquito bites. It's pretty decent actually, RaceLab. A lot of people do use SDK, but this does the stuff for free as well. Okay, so this is practice, and then this just continues on to the color. Mic check, mic check. Continue on, continue on. It's a headphone, which I bought about 4 years ago. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Flat. Okay. 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 Yeah, sure. Go. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Sim Racing Nation. It's Zebi on your mics, commentary mics, and it gets you going for this race here at Laguna Seca, another community night here at Sim Racing Nation, and we are going to get going with all of these drivers. Of course, a few minutes of practice, about 20 minutes, which a few minutes have already passed of, and then we'll move on to a 5-minute qualifying session. It's going to be a lot of qualifying session. So it's going to be about 2 laps that each driver gets, and that's going to move us into a 20-minute race here at Laguna Seca. There is a lot more drivers than what we had at the previous race on Friday night, and this is going to get us going. And with the new update of iRacing, there is a lot of debris and gravel out on track. If one or the other driver gets out, meanwhile one of the cars ahead we see go into the wall on their road. Meanwhile we are on into Steven's car at the moment, just going through and having a look at him practice and take us around the circuit here at Laguna Seca, and then it switches up a few cameras out there and we'll see what is it going to be. Then we're having a look at another driver then at the moment just exiting the pace. This is going to be close, but he doesn't go that fast. He lets him pass, of course, just getting out of the pits, and pit lane here at Laguna Seca is fine, but the exit is pretty tight and you can go onto the gravel once again. Meanwhile, there is a lot of debris and gravel out into one, and they might touch. They got close there. This is only practice. They're already getting closer. They almost touched out there, and that is Mark, who was dominant at the previous community night and running that classic William Renault livery from back in the day in Formula One then. And we will see, but how are they all going to be doing? The times look at the moment, the fastest is Mark himself at the moment. We are just having that top layout, have a look at us one. We can only have a look at us next time. Meanwhile, Stephen 134.594 in third place, Chase behind in 134.861, Jared Hall 135.7, Todd 136.1. The practice times look pretty competitive and look pretty close to one another as well. So this is gonna be somewhat exciting stuff as we move on to the qualifying session. So it should be about 10 more minutes of this practice to go around and give us the action and the performance of these drivers that we are seeing. Some of those quite quick than each other. We in fact have Mark's time actually 136.123, so it's got pretty quick and quickest of them all so far, but no, that is not quick. Chase goes quickest as he goes 134.861. So okay, Mark's, that must have been last time on Mark's fastest time is 133.745, so this is quick now. 133.34 then is Stephen, then Anthony in 134.5 as well. Chase 134.8. And then Jared improves goes into 135.7, or was there already. So this probably the overlay on the bottom, not on the bottom, but the one after another as the standings that we see, other than the top one, will be these, and Jared Hall going around in his car, and I think this is going up the hill. There's a lot of gravel on the track, and that explains that how many times these drivers have already went off in this in this session and got that gravel from their tires onto the track. And I think that update and that immersion that iRacing has added, it really adds to the action and makes it hard for them, but then everybody around as well. So the racing line's a bit clear, but all the other lines on almost every part there is gravel. There is some of it on the side of it on the track as well. With these drivers driving around, we are once again looking at Stephen Bickford, and we'll see what he's able to do. Does he go any quicker? He's currently second fastest, 134.5 for him. We switched up the cameras, but see, does his time improve any time around? But not quite though, so far at this point in time. Mark is in first place, and Anthony in third place, then it's Chase in fourth, Jared Hall in fifth, and then we've seen Stephen once again. Did he improve though? That is the question. 134.544. Maybe he did, maybe he did not. And these BMW, just a new car, brand new car, which is of course included in the iRacing subscription that iRacing has just introduced at this point in time, as we see Stephen running that Uber livery, just that big 88 number on his car and that Uber logo to get it going here at Laguna Seca. So they are all doing some practice, and then of course moving on to the qualifying session, have them best preparation, just prepare themselves to get it going. And then we have Chase running a plain, pretty much a combination of carbon red and yellow there on his own, and we're going to see Anthony at this moment in time at the quickest before this lap. But does he improve any time? He does not. 134.8 double, so was 7.7 for him. Then Mark doing his few laps, all of those drivers laps after laps they're at it, and we are on with Alan at this point in time. He's the driver who hasn't got a time on board at this point in time. He's almost running this SRN livery, but fire on, he's spinning around, moving around the track, maybe on the exit, just unstable a little. He didn't got a stable exit out there. You saw him get on, and that is gonna be, and they're both of them are gonna go wide. So that must have not been Alan, though. Alan was in the BMW livery with the similar BMW logo
and the one with the fire would have been Aaron, and both of them went wide. One on the outside, one on the inside, one followed by another, and that explains that how this race is going to follow up, because how much gravel that is out of the track. Look at that, and that is not going to do any good at all, because that is all it's going to do is put more and more gravel on their tires, and then one more driver goes very, very wide and into the barrier on the right hand side. Straight put himself into the tire barrier, and I think this is what excites us to see how much stuff and action we're going to see going into the race. We are about 6 minutes away still, 5.5 minutes away from the qualifying, and that is going to be the car right behind. Have a spin as well. That must have been Mark. He's got the fastest time of them all so far, but nobody able to get close. But then he is making mistakes as well. So that explains that this circuit is not going to be kind to anyone. It will not have its mercy. Let it be. You are the quickest or the slowest time at this moment in time. Chase still stays the quickest. Mark still stays the quickest, 133.678. And it's Steven, 134.5. The practice times look pretty competitive. 1, 2, 3 drivers in the 134s, 1 in the 33s, and then it's 2 in the 135s. Let's see how many of them are in the 136 then. Only one of them actually, meanwhile Aaron is in 137, then it's 137 for Cam J as well, but we'll see what anybody around then it is for Remington in 137s as well. Hope I'm pronouncing that name right. Then it's David in the 139s. We are back again with Alan. So yes, that was Alan, the one ahead who went into the right hand side, and the one running the SRN livery was Aaron at that point in time. So let's have a look at Alan. Lets him get past, but then he himself runs almost wide out there, getting onto the gravel. He's currently on a flying lap as it shows, but he would have just let Mark by and not having the lap they would have wanted. So she's going to get it along. And one thing we are seeing, it will be very interesting to see who does it best and better than one or the other. 1 hour and 6 minutes, so it should be about, just as the session says, it is hour and 10 minutes at this point in time. And look at that, they go up the hill and the gravel is just getting out from one's tires to back out on the track, and it's almost all gravel at this specific corner because there's going to be so many cars. While going up the hill, they would have went into the gravel in one of the corners before that on the exit, so that's going to see them fill out all the gravel on the track, or just in on the one before that, from up to downhill. That area sends you into the gravel most of the time as well if you don't get it right. And we'll see. And look at that. And he goes wide. He goes pretty wide. Jared, we are on board, and in fact in his car, and we could see that the gravel and into the tires and hitting the body of the car really made that noise, and I'm sure that would be to their knowledge, and they're pretty much I shall say that there will be alert of that there is gravel on the track, so the grip would be very, very less at one place than another. But we will see. I'm sure when comes qualifying, we'll get to see who is quicker than one another. Mark at this point in time seems to be the quickest. Nobody able to get closer to him. Stevens tried, so has Chase and Anthony, but none of them have been closing up or into the 133s. What about Mark then? We switched up from him. There's a little bit of action going on here at this point. Anthony at this moment in time, 134.5 for him. Oh, they are very, very close. Aaron and Anthony. Did Aaron go in the wall there? Not sure, because he went switched almost to the inside. We can switch around. Both of them go across that line. Anthony goes through the line. 136.1, very slower for him. What about Alan then? He seemed to be the slowest earlier on, but does he improve? Not at all. 150.698, not quicker. But I'm sure he must have made a mistake or two in there, which could see him get along and get a little bit slower. Of course, 150 would have been maybe as added spins and problems that we did not see in the action at this point in time. But we just now 2 minutes to go into the qualifying session, which is going to be 5 minutes and 2 laps to each driver. So they will have their chance, 2 laps of this Laguna Seca, to put a lap on the timing sheet and have themselves start at the front of the grid and as much ahead as they can, because standing starts, whoever has the best reaction time, whoever's ahead than one another will have the better chance of staying ahead of each other. And we will see though, because 20 minutes a race, it should be all flat out to the end, and with these laps counted, they probably would be a little bit more than 20 laps. We'll see how many they are going to be doing, and it should be falling checkered flag after hour and 10 minutes get past to get into the qualifying session, which is going to get into it. And so the quickest time, not the quickest time, but so it does actually show that. Let's have a look at this. 14 drivers, that is a lot of them. So many of them. We're currently with Aaron, who's got a time of 135.9. Then we've seen then Anthony once again 134.8488, 35.948. So that is actually the thing that I detailed. Just noticed that at the top of the timings, top standings, the timing of each driver shows up there, and I think that is going to be pretty interesting as it marks the timings, and that goes disappearing, does the session and the cars do. So we should be back when the qualifying session gets going, and this then marks the end to the practice session. It was Mark the fastest, 134 into the 133s. No driver out there that was closer to him. Anthony then comes out as well. We're having these cars go around, and I'll be back in just a second to get back to the qualifying action one more time. It'll be 5 minutes and 2 laps to each driver to show their talent and speed they've got around here. The practice all along for a long time before this, and it's all time, and this is where it all comes down to this, and they will have to put it up there, and we'll see who does better than the other. Sure, we saw Mark go quickest and earlier on, but then after that he did not replicate. He did not get closer to his time after that, but he's got one more chance and one more time to get closer, and we will see what and how is he going to be able to do that, because he's got many other drivers, the likes of Anthony Chase and many behind him, to challenge and put the pressure and somewhat action on him, as the gravel at this point seems to be clear, and it is not clear at all. I was about to say it's clear, but there is still a lot of it on the sides of the track. Anthony, we're going with Anthony. Everybody now beginning their flying laps. Of course, there will be on and out laps, so the gravel doesn't seem to be much visible out there. Maybe it has disappeared when the session changed, and some of those, in fact all of those, would be loving, as he has a little slide on the exit just before the flying laps have begun. Still somewhat of the action going on in the qualifying session. And there we go. Now every driver should be on their flying laps. Of course, it's a long qualifying session, so nobody is going to be visible to each other in this qualifying session, which I feel like are pretty clean as well. Of course, nobody ahead of you on the track, so you get a proper, fair chance to complete a lap. He's currently on lap 1 out of the 2 that they're going to get. Jared now earlier on with Chase, and everybody on their own and on their mission to have a time on board. But who will it be? Who will be able to do it the better than one or the other? Does anybody say that? Come and that, let me show you how it's done. We will see what are they going to be able to do that. So 0 laps, everybody on their flying laps now, and we are just seeing Gerald now just going down the hill, not up the hill. In fact, now he will be going, and the 5th corner before the few final corners. But let's see, I might have judged not just the corner, but where Oh yes, he's already done. He's not going to go up the hill. He's already done that downhill corner and into the final corner now as the camera just switches then shows us Michael Shen, who we did not see earlier on in the session, but Will Anthony has the time as he's going to have a huge spin there. That is going to put him not quite fastest, but Chase has been the fastest, 134.007. Then others follow. Gerald 135.2, 136.3 from Anthony. Todd is 136.4, and then 136.1 from Kinsman. And what is this gonna put out? Meanwhile, Mark, the man who was quickest in the practice session, hasn't quite been able to show what he's able to do. Maybe he does on that second lap, but I think it's very easy to invalidate your laps around here. And obviously, with only 2 laps, you don't get much of a chance. And we will see, ladies and gentlemen. So everyone on their second laps. Mark at the moment second, in fact. He is second quickest, 134.1. But how quick will he be going, though? We will see. Let's have a look at this. We get going, and I think... we will see 134.1 what he can do at this point in time. He's second fastest. I'm sure he wants to go fastest, but will he be improving by over a tenth? He's going very nicely there. Almost gets into the gravel, just takes as much track as he can, using all of it there. And Mark at this point in time, he does go wide, does get his tires on just on the outside, a little bit on the curb, and that marks the end to the qualifying session. Before we could see these guys complete any of the laps, the session has ended, and that is going to mark end to the qualifying session. And let's see what marks the grid setup and it being ready for us to get going and have a start and have a 20-minute race here at Laguna Seca, which is going to see us have a winner, have a race, or that's going to get us. And that is then going to be Case Gordon starting ahead of everyone. It was Mark in second place, Jared Hill in third. We don't see the number of a driver in fourth place, but Anthony in fifth. Anthony in fifth, and then Todd in sixth place as the rest of them follow. So Mark in third, Gerald in third, Jake Kinsman in fourth, Anthony in fifth, Todd in sixth, Aaron in seventh, Alan in 8th, then David in 9th, James in 10th, Michael in 11th. So we've a lot of drivers. Stephen in 12th. Stephen actually had a good time in practice, but didn't quite convert it in the race. And then it's another Michael in 12th place at this point in time. Then it's Remington in 14th place. Then it's Mark back again in second place, I guess. That's 14 drivers then on front of your screen, on front of our screen, and to get us going and get through this race, which should be nothing more than entertainment, nothing more than interesting action that we need and that we want at this point in time. So we should be going racing anytime soon. I hope we get to see the 5 red lights, which we are not seeing at this point in time, but the drivers are now racing and the engines are revving, and that's going to be 5 red lights, and we will go racing. Meanwhile, Mark is in position really outside with this one as well. Aaron is out there trying to make positions. Meanwhile, Mark is in between. They're going into turn 1. Too wide it's going to be. There's going to be so many cars side by side. Mark and Aaron. Mark gets ahead. He's still got about a few cars ahead of him to try and defend. Meanwhile, Mark still stays ahead. Kinsman out there still staying in 6th place at this point in time. Get himself going as all these drivers now get behind each other, get it going. Meanwhile, it's going to be Kinsman still side by side, fighting it out there. He's not going to be side by side. It's going to be one of the other cars. But Todd out there, we're going to see him in 7th place at this point in time. Some of those cars behind, fighting each other out there. It's going to be Todd ahead of Stephen and James fighting each other. In 7th place, it's going to be Todd. And one in the 88 car, Stephen, is going to do some more racing. We saw him going side by side, and some of the action in the back of the grid. We saw Alan and a few of the other cars side by side each other. Meanwhile, the 88 goes around the outside into the downhill action, and he's already going to make the move. But will some of those go into each other? Yes, they will, as one of the cars ahead bumps into one of those, and that would have been a lot worse than it was. So that just saves them, and they are still side by side, the 88 and 95. It's not the 95, the 22, 88 and 22, once again side by side, they make contact, and they are giving us all the action here at the start of the race. Will it be James? Will it be James, or will it be the number 5 of one of the cars similar? And we will see who's able to do that. So Mark's time from practice having converted into qualifying all the race, as he's currently in 6th for 5th place he was, as it's going to be now one more chance for the 22 to defend his position. He's lost it out to 88, and he's got to do it again. Stephen has overtaken, and he could well be doing it one more time. We will see. What does Mark do? Just behind Jared Hall he is, ahead of him is Anthony, then it's Chase, and that's the 1, 2, 3 of this race. To the top 3, Mark's got a big chance, and chance to turn the tables. He was dominant at previous races, previous mountain downhill derby race, which was of course going downhill, and he's quite dominant in that. But so many drivers here tonight to show us the competitive and speed of themselves, and that is only going to give us more and more entertainment as the 22 of James and 95 of one of the drivers down there that should be is going to give us all the action. Meanwhile, Mark is still behind Jared Hall. He's trying to go for it, but the Anthony's number 2 of Anthony is behind them as well. Meanwhile, Aaron has gained a position, a few positions I believe. He was in 7th place starting, but at the moment he's in 5th place, and Mark has moved up a place. He's got himself into 3rd place now. So that is then going to be about 13 laps with the time that there is. We're seeing the time, and the laps as well in this race, and I think we will see what is going to be the action. Let's have a look at this. Will Mark be coming at him? Will Mark go at Jared Hill? At the moment, Jared's got the fastest time, 1:34.989. Looking quicker, and he now goes 8:17. Does Jared improves quite quicker and got the fastest time, so 8:98.989, or Mark's time, not Jared's time. And we will see this section then. This is going to be between the 96 and the 5. Around the outside is going to go Michael Newman. He's going to go on it on the inside line, get it through. Now one of those drivers are going to have a fight as well. Allen and one on the other. On the outside, Remington fighting each other as well. The 96 of Allen and Remington Smith in that other pink livery car. And we will see what everybody around the circuit can do and are able to do at this point in time. Well, Jared still in 3rd place, still holding ahead of, and meanwhile on the inside line it's going to go Kinsman, going to go very, very wide. Stephen, Aaron's going to go through on him, then will come Stephen right behind him. He will try and make the move, goes down the inside line. Kinsman ran very, very wide, and he now just might be on the verge of losing position to James as well. And what an overtake for the 88 of Stephen Bickford. He's made some good overtakes tonight, and he's enjoying racing and making us enjoy it as well. And very wide goes Aaron. Aaron goes very wide. Then round the outside is going to be Kinsman. Then round the outside is going to be Stephen. Is he going to be able to come back at him? Because Kinsman's hanging in there and fine so far. Meanwhile, we saw the 88 car of Stephen overtaken. Now it's between James and Kinsman. James is going to be on the inside line. He will have the inside line into the next corner coming up. Who's going to be late on the brakes though? It's going to be the bravest who make it safe through this corner. And that was Kinsman, the bravest. But he runs wide. And that might allow the 22 to go at him one more time. But then he touches the gravel as well. But will he be able to dive through? And he's going to go through. And Kinsman's going to go wide one more time. Aaron's just hanging in there, but not quite making the move. They're all enjoying it, going to go it, giving us the action and putting it all together. And now James might try and have a go at the driver ahead. Kinsman ahead of him, but we will see what he's able to do. Aaron behind those guys is far away, but James is trying at him. He might go on the inside line into turn one. We'll see what he's going to be able to do, though. Will he be able to come out ahead of him? Has he made the move stick? Who's going to be the better ones? He will be. James is through on him, but Aaron might be as well. Kinsman not having the start at this point in time. Currently in 7th place, lost a few positions, and we will see him lose another. And at this point, he still stays in 7th place. Car number 7 in P7 at this point in time in this race, but he's got all the defending to do, and maybe he can come back as well. No, that's not, get me wrong. He might try and come back at him, Ken Kinsman. He could try and overtake James, because we saw these drivers going very, very wide all the times, and they could be going one more time as well. Chase still leads ahead of Mark, out of Jared Hill. Then it's Anthony. Then it's Stephen Bickford. James in 6th place that we are seeing. Then it's, of course, Cam Kinsman. Ooh, that was very close there. Kinsman braked a little early and Aaron braked a little later, and they could have just ended up colliding with each other, but they are still going at it. Just some side-by-side action we saw earlier on, but these guys are one more time going to be there on the circuit, maybe giving us somewhat of an action, and we will see what they can do at this point in time, and we will see what they're about to do, because this, as it stands now, Alan's fighting it out. Alan's fighting for the top 10, and then Ken. We are looking at one more time. Still stays behind the 22 of James, and James is able to still stay ahead of him and give us the action, because they're side by side giving us the action. And Alan now ahead of Remington Smith, who's just going together there with of Smith, and I think we'll see what Smith can do in that pink livery car. Pepto, is he going to have a chance to overtake Alan, or will Alan stay there as we switch back to these guys and back and forth of some of these actions? Alan's got a quicker time on the previous lap, but will he though? And we will see who's got quicker than one or the other, and I think as it stands, Alan goes very, very wide, and then that's going to allow James to move away, because at this point Kinsman has gone very, very wide as well, and that's going to allow Aaron to get closer, because on the other end Alan ran wide this time around. Kinsman ran wide and Alan got closer. We're on 6 laps now, into 6 laps. He's going to go wide one more time. There could have been a chance for one or the other there, as this has been the entertaining race so far. Very entertaining. Hope you're all watching, enjoying it, because this is where we add the spice to an already entertaining race. Let's get it going. Chase and Mark at it. Mark started a little bit behind him and got lost out a lot on the that start, but now Mark is on the charge, but so is Smith on the charge to Alan. They were side by side, but Smith runs wide, and there's going to be a chance for Alan to pull away. Alan runs wide one more time. On the previous lap, Alan did a quicker lap, but this time around it might not be the case as they come across that line, and he improves, and yes, so both of them are slow. But Alan's very, very slow, because these 3 cars now, Michael Chen is right behind these 2, and he's getting at them as well. So all of these drivers have done over 6 laps now. Alan runs very, very wide one more time. He's ran wide so many times, but Smith just hasn't had enough speed to get through on him. He still finds his way to defend, but will this time be enough? Not for Michael though, as he heads into the wall on the right hand side. Might have stopped it. He was having a spin, might have just stopped it out there, but we will see what these guys are going to do. Almost touched to Chase and Mark. This fight for the lead, this battle for the lead is on. Who will it be at the end, when we are at the end of lap 13 and with 10 minutes to go in this race so far? Will it be Chase Gordon, or will it be Mark Punick ahead of everyone? Mark won. Not won, but finished first in the practice session. The second in the qualifying session to Chase, and this is his chance one more time. And there we go. Chase is a little bit slower, just about a 10th quicker. Is going to be there, and this time Smith goes wide. Remington goes so wide. That is going to allow Allen maybe, but they're both just having the competition of going wide after one another. But Allen around the outside is going to have that chance, and he's going to commit to it and gain that as well at this point in time. I think Chase and Mark still fighting each other, still giving us the action. I think no overtake from any of those. Overtaking doesn't seem too easy. Allen goes to the inside line to try and defend here at this point in time. But we will see though, because somewhat Chase goes wide and onto the gravel. This might be the chance and the golden chance for Mark to take, and he's going to be on the inside line, and he's going to make the move and move to the racing line before they could get into the braking zone. And Mark now overtakes and takes the lead of the race. That's some claps to be done for Mark out there. He's done it this time around. This move for a few laps coming, and in the end he does it all. And that's not going to allow. That is not going to allow one of the drivers going wide. So many of those going wide on the exit before that uphill. Into the downhill and the final sector, but that is then giving us only action-packed some performance of these drivers. We'll see how many laps there are going to be. They're on lap 9 already. It says 12.9, which is probably going to be 13 laps completed. But we will see how many later, because it's a 20-minute race, and as it stands, it's only about 13 and a half minutes get past at this point in time, and this will see us get going. So Anthony's got a time of 1:34.3, and look at that, Mark has got a very fast time then, 1:33.8, the fastest he's been this session. He was a little bit quicker in that qualifying. In the practice, and the qualifying he didn't have much time, but as soon as he has some more free air here in this race, he goes fastest, he puts the fastest lap, and that shows that he just needs somewhat free air, and that is going to get him to get some speed at this point in time. Drivers running their Vipers in dry weather, and that explains how much debris and gravel is flying over from other drivers' cars onto their windshield. And that windscreen is gonna be as dirty as it gets for these drivers to drive around in the gravel tap. Meanwhile, Jared and Anthony are going to have their fight for the final position inside the top 3. One is quicker than the other, but Anthony's got a full chance of getting into the top 3 back again. But Jared's going to try and defend. He's not going to let him get past as well. Are enjoying. So we are on lap 10 now out of 12, which is going to see us go to the end of this race. About 5 minutes remaining, but we're still doing 2 minutes a lap. So that should be enough though, because probably by minute 16 we should be at the end of lap 10. So we will see then how quick then can these guys take it up to the end, because now we are getting towards the ending of this race, and that is going to see us have a winner. Will it be Mark? Will it be Chase? Will it be Jared? Or even Anthony inside that top 4? And Stephen has got himself into P5. He was the one having so many overtakes at the start of this race, and overtake after one another, switching positions, giving everybody, another driver, somewhat of an interesting time to fight for their position. And I think that then seeing what he can do to move himself into top 4, I think starting at the back, coming back to the top is going to give him somewhat. And I think the way he overdid some overtaking is going to be a good one for him as well. He must have enjoyed it, and he would have enjoyed it. see, and probably, yes, at the end of this lap, it's going to be over 17 or even 18 minutes. Then to the end, to that final one, which is going to see it's at 12.9, so probably 12 laps and an out lap. But we will see, though, because at the moment we are seeing this action between Anthony, Jared and Steven, but all three of them very closer to each other and one another, could be going for that move, and we will see who's going to be the bravest. Steven, we've seen, has been the bravest, and they somewhat of a great overtaker at this point in time, but how long does that live? Because obviously to overtake you need that speed, and only then you can overtake. But has he got it? Jared ahead, losing a lot of gravel into the tires of Anthony, and this is a bit of a clean part on the circuit. I'm sure they're going to be hoping to enjoy it, to really get it going. This is close now. The battle is close. This is going to be close as we are moving in to the final few laps of this race. Between Jared and Anthony, the fight for top three could be on, because if they're fighting each other, then Steven can get through in as well. This is going to be interesting, and this will go to the end till the checkered flag is fallen, and we will see who does it better than one another. So next time by, it's going to be the white flag and the final lap before the end of the race, but they've got this one to get through and this one to take, and we will see who's better and who's able to do better than one another. And as it stands, Jared is still able to stay ahead. He's still quite car lengths ahead to not let them overtake, and the one behind wouldn't be close enough to overtake though. But they've been through and been around the circuit lap after lap, trying to do it at this point in time, but they should be able to do it. And let's see, Steven might be through. He was getting closer and closer lap after lap. He might get himself into the top four. They're side by side, wheel to wheel racing, and Steven's made the move done. He's going to get it going and moves himself up into fourth place. And on the final 13th and the final lap could well be his chance to take it over Jared Hill as well. But let's see, it might be a little bit more. Maybe there is this one's white flag. Otherwise, the one after this would be the white flag, because we've got 20 minutes to complete in this race. So SC win. Anthony could come back at him. Anthony could definitely come back at him, and we will see what he's able to do. What can he show us back? He's switching to the inside line. They're wheel to wheel racing into the next corner. They go. They're still side by side. Are they going to give each other some good space that they had given so far? And Anthony's going to try and overtake back again, and he makes the move one more time. On this final lap, and he's going to come back at him. Steven's going to come back at him once again. Will it be Anthony, or will it be Steven now into the final few corners? That is going to be Steven then. Up the hill they're going to go, and this is going to be a corner to judge, but will Anthony be able to come back at him? Not quite do so far at this point in time. Steven's made the move. He couldn't get to the top three, but what a drive from him it's been. Moved himself into the top four, and we will see if we're going to go one more time, or this then marks the end to the race. If this does, Mark is going to finish first. Jace is going to be right behind him in second place, and it's going to be Jared Hill in third place, and Steven Bigfoot at this moment in time in fourth place. Might just lose the position on the final corner from Anthony. Let's see what happens though. Across that final line they're going to come, and that then is a flag was waving, but I wonder, was that the checkered flag, or was that the white flag? Let's have a look at that. We can't quite have a look at that, but we'll see. And no, that is Mark. That is Mark in one of those walls. But as it stands, I think the race might have ended because everybody is now stopping on the circuit. Some of those driving around, but not driving quick. And that then could be marking to the end to this race here at Laguna Seca. Another community night and a great entertaining race. Hope all of you watching enjoyed it. This was somewhat a great entertaining race here at Laguna Seca. But let's see if it's still going on, because Mark is back on the circuit and he's driving. He's not stopped and he's still going again. And I think the race might have just been going on. Mark might have bottled it out from the race lead. We will see, but I don't think so, because Steven is hanging behind. And yeah, they're weaving around. They're weaving around left and right. They might just be going to the checkered flag, but the times have passed, so that could have been the end. And Mark goes into the wall one more time. Steven's gonna get through, but yeah, they're driving slow, so that means they have taken the checkered flag at this point in time. And that's gonna be Steven and James fighting each other. And are they gonna head into the wall? They don't head into the pits though, but we'll see though. If Mark's in first place, that means they've taken the checkered flag. They're all gonna try and go left or right and do an outlap finish, and that is then gonna mark the end. One of those, Steven goes into the wall. Great race for him. That will mark the end to the race here at Laguna Seca. Another great community night here at Sim Racing. Hope you all watching enjoyed it. My name's Zabi, and Zabi is on